So I have people in my comment section telling me to stop talking about what I'm talking about and focus more on black crime. So let's get into that. Okay, let's start with Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and the Black Panther Party. See, the Black Panthers was inspired by Malcolm X. Then that same government that unalived all of them, or they unalived them, or they put them in prison, that same government unalived Fred Hampton. So that was the end of the movement. So what was the Black Panther Party doing? They was feeding kids, feeding families, making sure the black community was thriving. And I always tell y'all, these people, the government, the people in power, white supremacy, they don't want to see us thriving. They make money from crime, so they have to keep making it. And whenever there's a messiah, whenever there's a leader or a group or organization, they have to break it up. And just look back. They broke up all the black leadership, all the black organizations. So you fast forward today. How does Chicago look? That's on purpose. That's not just because we going crazy down there, our people going crazy. No, that's on purpose. The projects they created, that's on purpose. Even down to your presidents. President Nixon, he flooded the black communities all over America with crack and heroin. And they did this all on purpose so there could be no more black organizations, no more black leaders. So before you start talking to me about black on black crime, please do your research and you will see why everything is the way it is. But it gets deeper. In 1996, Gary exposed how the CIA hired drug traffickers to sell massive amounts of cocaine in the United States in order to raise untraceable funds to finance a terrorist organization who were trying to overthrow the Nicaraguan government. These massive shipments of cocaine ultimately sparked the crack epidemic that decimated inner cities during the 90s. As a result, mainstream media vilified Garrett Webb and destroyed his career, which also destroyed his marriage. But he refused to back down. In 2024, he was found unalive with 2 bullet wounds to the head. His death was ruled, I'm going to say the S word because, YouTube guidelines. So this was Gary's job to investigate and all that. So he investigated the CIA and he found out that they were the ones putting the drugs in the inner cities all over America. So now look at all your inner cities, all the black communities. Okay, no wonder they're the way they are because they did this on purpose. And then you tell us this man unalives himself with 2 bullet wounds? What? You see how people don't really question stuff? So to the people in my comments, and it's mostly like old heads, the older guys and stuff like that. So if you grew up in the 80s and you was around during a crack epidemic and you're not on YouTube teaching the new generation, you're not telling them what to watch out for, don't tell me what to post. Don't tell me what to talk about because you're not talking about nothing. You're just going through life with all this information and you're not talking about nothing. So let's move on to this story. And see, it's crazy how the school really failed us. They talked about Christopher Columbus, the Pilgrims, and Anne Frank. And I'm going to always bring up the Anne Frank situation because that's just disrespectful, man. Especially when I heard that she wasn't even a real, human. It's a character they came up with. And we had to read this diary. That's crazy. And you got cops that was dropping bombs on our people. And we never learned about this. On the evening of May 13, 1985, long-standing tensions between MOVE, a black liberation group, and the Philadelphia Police Department erupt horrifically. That night, the city of Philadelphia dropped a satchel bomb, a demolition device typically used in combat, laced with Tovex and C4 explosives on the MOVE organization. 11 people were unalived in the row homes, including 5 children. So you telling me when black people have an organization, when black people create a group to better our people, not to harm other races, but if you harm us, they'll harm you. But we don't attack first. So it's an organization to help our people, to uplift our people. When we do that, y'all try to end it. But you can have an organization like the KKK, which was harming people, harming our people. And today they still thriving. Today they still moving. Today, you even have them as lawyers, cops, judges, doctors. And like I always said, these people always hate when we try to further our community, when we try to help our community. They don't want that because I told you, they get paid from crime. If it's no crime, they don't get paid. So they have to create it. They have to end the organizations. MOVE, not an acronym, was a political and religious organization whose principles were anti-government, anti-technology, and anti-corporation. Its creator, John Africa, born Vincent Leaphart, was a West Philly native and Korean War vet whose ideology combined Black revolutionary ideas with environmental and animal rights, as well as back to the nature movement. So this move community was just to help our people out. They cared about the nature and they cared about animals. And they didn't want anything to do with the government, anything to do with technology. They were just a people for themselves. And it was going to get bigger, but they don't like to see that. They don't like us to see us think for ourselves. They don't like to see our people move forward by ourselves. We don't need your technology. We don't need your jobs. We don't need none of that. But they don't like that because they want us to always need them. So why you think after all these organizations, they got the welfare, they got child support, they got the food stamps. They want our people to always depend on them so they can have control. Because you got to think about it, this MOVE organization was for homeschooling. They had their own diet. They spoke against war. And this is the most important one. They spoke against police brutality. Because you got to understand, you got your Black people who go speak against that. And you got your Black people who just go stay out of it. Oh, that's not my business. I'm just getting my money. I'm going to work. They're not going to never talk about it. So you need your Black people who go speak against police brutality, because if you don't speak against it, if you don't act against it, it's going to keep going on. And one day it could be you, it could be your family member. And then they move in this neighborhood. And you know how it is, man. When you're around certain neighbors, they always calling the cops on you. They always saying, oh, it's trash. You making a lot of noise. You already know how it is living around certain people. So the MOVE organization, they always got into it with the cops. They always had beef with the cops. So they always wanted them unalive. They always wanted them in jail for life. Bro, they was giving out life sentences like it was nothing. It could be your first charge. They giving you a life sentence because this group, all of them had locks. They want them in prison because they stand up for their people. They not bowing down like most of Black people do. Bow down and just give in and just go along and just think Jesus go save them. You telling me you dropped a bomb on a house and you unalived 5 children, and it gets deeper. The MOVE home in Philadelphia had double walls, and police used explosives to gain entry through them during the MOVE bombing on May 13, 1985. So the city cops tried to come in, and they tried to come in through the door and stuff like that, through the walls. But they don't know that this organization, the MOVE organization, they had double walls. So they couldn't just break into that. They couldn't just shoot because it was double walls. So the next step they did was the craziest thing I ever heard. And who actually made the call is going to shock you. So at the time, Philadelphia had its first African-American mayor. His name was Wilson Goode. And he actually made the call. He actually told them to get in the, into the helicopter, the police helicopter, and drop a bomb on the house so they can come through the on top of the roof or through the wall so they can blow the walls off. He made the call, a Black mayor. And I always told y'all, all my videos, when you see Black sheriffs, when you see Black chiefs, when you see Black mayors, they not for us. They on their side. They are just a cover up so they can always have their excuse. Oh, we not racist. We got a Black mayor. Oh, we not racist. We have a Black sheriff. That's all they there for, so they can do their dirty work. And those people are never going to speak up for us. So if your city has a Black sheriff, a Black mayor, you cooked. They not looking out for you. They trying to see how they can make money through this crooked system. They making money from these crooked cops. They making money from these crooked judges. That's the way they making illegal money. So you telling me a Black mayor decides to bomb a house with a Black organization, with Black children in it, with Black women and men in it. He made the call. And guess what he did a few years later? He tried to apologize. He said, although I was not personally involved in all the decisions that resulted in 11 unalivings, I was chief executive of the city. I would not intentionally harm anyone, but it happened on my watch. I am ultimately responsible for those appointed. And this the crazy part. He wasn't by himself. The people under him, the Black so-called leaders in politics that was under him, they made the call with him. They agreed with him. They tried to make it make sense to do this to their own people. Now imagine this. Imagine you in the house and you got kids in the house and you trying to break out of the house because the house is on fire because they just dropped a bomb in the house. You try to come out, but you got police shooting at you to go back in. So the cops was actually shooting at them to go back inside the house into the fire. Ain't that's the crazy part? Only two people survived. Only two people survived the bombing. Romania, Africa, then she was 29 years old, and a child, Birdie, Africa, then he was 13 years old. No one was ever charged for the attack. Romania, Africa served 7 years. So today, when you look at Philly, when you look at Philadelphia today, you see why it's the way it is. Because they stopped the movement. They stopped our people from helping each other. They stopped us from growing. They stopped us from educating ourselves. They stopped that. They did it on purpose. So before you talk about black on black crimes, please do your research. Please do your history, because this is deeper than what you think. It's deeper than two black people unaliving each other. It's deeper than that. And it's going to take time for us to break free from that. So to me, I feel like everybody has a part to play. Maybe it's me doing videos, educating my people. Maybe it's you doing something else. Everybody plays a part. Stop looking for one person to do everything. So I want to shout out to John Africa for actually creating this organization. Everybody changed their last name to Africa. Everybody had the locks. I like that, man. I like that. And everybody stood on business. They actually walked everything they taught. They stood on business. And we don't learn about this in school because they know if we learn about this in school, we're going to start getting ideas to take our cities back, take the community back. But they don't want you to take it back. They need the crime because the crime makes them rich. The crime buys them the houses they got. The crime buys them the cars. The crime buys them all that. So they go keep flooding the communities with drugs. They go keep flooding the community with guns. So the only way, I can say the only way, but everybody has a part. We have to start exposing these kind of tactics because they still doing it. Now it's just on a higher level. And they said still some MOVE members still alive. So look, shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for the sacrifices y'all made, to the ones that survived, to the ones that didn't. We really, really appreciate you. I'm out.